Big developments this week in the murder of Gabby Petito. Her death has been ruled a homicide, but the cause of death not yet released. Her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, is the most wanted man in America, and he's on the run. The feds hitting Laundrie with an arrest warrant for bank fraud, allegedly using Gabby's debit card after she went missing. Extremely damning. And fresh details are emerging about Gabby's up and down relationship with Laundrie. A new witness describing an incident at a Wyoming restaurant and what could be the last time Gabby was seen alive.
We saw a blowout of a situation between Gabby Petito and Brian Laundrie in Wyoming. We were at this restaurant, you guys, Friday, August 27th, 1 p.m., sitting right next to them. I went to the bathroom, I came back, and they were like abruptly leaving, like something happened. She walks out, she's upset, she's crying. He walks out with her, but then like right away turns around, walks right back in, and he's, you know, kind of like violently like talking to the hostess, and you could tell he's angry.
Brian Laundrie's family still refusing to help police, and many believe they even helped him escape. Neighbors say the parents packed up their camper and went on a trip with Brian 10 days after he came home without Gabby.
I noticed that they got a new camper for the back of the pickup. I saw them doing some work. Then when they prepared for their trip, I saw them loading the camper.
Now, you're talking about Brian and his parents after he returned home, is that correct? In a different camper?
Yes.
Wow. His parents silent when confronted by Fox.
Chris, do you have anything to say to Gabby Petito's family?
Why aren't you talking? Why aren't you up listening to your son?
Where do you think he is?
Do you think Brian's in danger?
Here for reaction to all of this is host In Pursuit with John Walsh. John Walsh himself. All right, John, I know you know the feds booted this, local police booted this. How bad is it now?
Well, Jesse, before I answer that question, I want to say one thing. The White House owes the mounted Border Patrol an apology. I've ridden with that Border Patrol 7 times. I live on a horse ranch. I raise and train polo horses. I played competitive polo all over the world, so I know what I'm talking about. Those are reins. They're not whips. The photographer that took the pictures has come out in public and said I did not see them hit one illegal alien, and the president is causing, and you know, I'm a centrist guy. I'm a centrist guy. The president is humiliating the Border Patrol. It's to diffuse the fact that there were 20,000 Haitians under that bridge, Jesse, and the Border Patrol. I've ridden at night with those guys. They risk their lives. It's one of the worst jobs in law enforcement. The White House owes them an apology, big time.
I agree, and I don't think we're going to get one, but everyone agrees that he does owe those agents an apology.
Yeah.
Go ahead on Gabby.
They're risking their lives. Well, I'll tell you what, on Wednesday night, my show In Pursuit with John Walsh, you know I have my own hotline. I have FBI operators there, and I have U.S. Marshals there because America's Most Wanted, and this show works so well because the public doesn't want to call the cops. So we got over 500 good tips that we turned over to the FBI, and, you know, everybody's seen that photograph of him at the restaurant. I know the name, one of our viewers, you know, called in and said it's the Carboni restaurant in Merida in Mexico in the Santa Lucia district. So we got terrific tips. People have been swamping our hotline, swamping our social media, texting us like crazy. We got good tips in Mexico, from Mexico. My philosophy is that he had at least 9 days of a head start while his world-famous lawyer and the dirty laundry parents you know, were given fake red herrings. He was never in that swamp. So we got a lot of calls. I believe that wherever they took him in that camper and dropped him off, gave him a ton of money, probably burner phones that can't be traced, etc. I thought he was heading up the panhandle. He'd go across Alabama, Louisiana, get to Texas. With all that's going on the border, there is no border, so he could walk across into Mexico anywhere. So that picture makes some sense. We also got a ton of calls from the people that live along the Appalachian Trail. and we got a call from one of Gabby's best friends who said, yeah, I don't know if the police know this, but Brian lived on the Appalachian Trail for 3 months with a tent and a backpack. So those tips we turned over, and that sounds very reasonable to me. But he got such a head start, and this family is so dirty, and this lawyer, when he called the cops last week on that big red herring, saying, oh, you know, the dirty Laundries called me up and said, you know, Brian went to the swamp,
Right.
and then we went out and found his car, and we put a note in it because we were afraid that Brian would kill himself. And we said, come home, Brian, and he didn't come home. So Thursday we got the car, and so, you know, their lawyer, Bertolino, calls the cops on Friday and say, I'm going to do the right thing and tell you that they're so worried that he might be in the swamp. Another big red herring. So he left before Gabby's parents filed the missing persons report.
Yeah, that's such a ruse, the swamp ruse, and I agree with your theory about them dropping him up towards the Panhandle to scooch over to Mexico, which does not have, they do have an extradition treaty with the U.S., so he's probably even going south of Mexico. The Appalachian Trail thing is very interesting. That's rugged terrain. He has experience up there, but that's a risk because, again, that's still in the United States. I would bet he's out of the country by now, which makes it even harder for the feds to track him. 30 seconds left. Anything you want to say to the audience that's still looking?
No, I say to my fans and the audience, they're going to break this case. I dragged 47 guys out of Mexico, and more than half of them Americans. So the public is going to break this case wide open. If you don't want to call the FBI and you don't want to talk to police, call my hotline. I guarantee you can remain anonymous. We don't trace. We don't tap calls. The public knows that. I've been doing this for 33 years and caught the world's most wanted in 45 countries. So make that call. No matter how insignificant you think it is, make that call. This coward that killed a 100-pound beautiful girl, and my heart goes out to that family because they belong to the same Orville Club I do, parents of a murdered child. I'm saying, however inconsequential you think that tip is, text me or call me and we'll get it to the authorities.
All right, get it to John, get it to the FBI, and we got to get this guy alive. And that's the truth.
Absolutely.
John Walsh.
Hey.
Thank you. A major racial confrontation at